Hey, welcome to Midtown Comics TV. I'm Alan Kistler.
I'm Jennifer Ewing.
And Jen, I hear that you're in a movie coming up.
Well, I'm not in a movie yet, but it's true I have been cast in a independent feature-length film.
And what's it called?
It's called Electric Man.
Now, I hear this is like Clerks meets the Maltese Falcon.
It is a little bit mysterious, a little bit romantic, a little bit comic, a little bit dramatic.
So what can we do to help out with this film in any way?
Well, we are still in the process of fundraising to get the budget before we can greenlight the project. So, if you go to the electricmanmovie.com, you can find a button that says support, and you can donate like $1, and you can get your name in the credits. So, be on the lookout for these little cards right here, located in Midtown Comics on the desks, if you want to have something more tangible to help you remember where to go to help us out.
Stick around after the reviews, because Jose interviews Gilbert Hernandez of Love and Rockets and several other books.
New Avengers 64 with Siege tie-in. I decided to bite the bullet because I got here before Alan did, and I grabbed the New Avengers comic because I've never read any! And I was afraid that I would be completely lost, but this issue does a great job at filling you into the backstory of what the heck is going on, and no problems. Great dialogue, fantastic storyline, loving the art, and of course, how can you go wrong with the Avengers? So, definitely pick this up this week.
Wonder Woman 43. This is continuing the alien invasion that Wonder Woman is dealing with. Superman's not around, the Justice League is not around. This is Wonder Woman by herself dealing with a full-scale invasion. It is really cool. Giant city repping up snakes up here. Achilles is there trying to help out. Steve Trevor is throwing on his old jacket, ready to kick a little butt. Very, very good stuff. And we have flashbacks to some of Wonder Woman's past. Like, how did the armor come about, really? Nice stuff. Gail Simone is ending her run soon because J. Michael Straczynski is going to take over, so you should really check out Gail's last works on this book.
Deadpool, issue 22. Deadpool has found himself in rural Georgia, trying to become a hero as opposed to a villain. Things are going okay for him down in Georgia. You know what? You're never going to get a bad review for a Deadpool comic from me, so take this opportunity to be like, Jen's reviewing Deadpool, it must be awesome. Go, run, be happy, read this comic.
Invincible Iron Man 25. We're beginning the heroic age of Marvel now that the siege is ending and Norman Osborn's going away. This has Tony Stark dealing with what happened to me. He has lost the last couple of years of his memories, so he's learning about the Civil War and everything as secondhand information. It deals with him just trying to put his life together. Where do I stand financially? Where do I stand with my friends? Is Thor gonna beat me up? We also have a new status quo for Tony, considering what's the deal with his health now. As you know, Tony's health constantly goes back and forth. Now we've got a state of affairs that's a little bit closer to the films, and you'll get to see what that means as well as how that inspires him to take his life in a new direction. If you haven't been reading Iron Man for years, this is the place to start.
The Guild, issue 2, loving what Felicia Day is doing with the comic of her web series, The Guild. Particularly the fact that we get to see how the Guild became the Guild, and how they met one another. I really want to punch her boyfriend in the face. This issue is very random, but it's super fun. So if you think I'm super fun being random, she is 10 times more super fun being random than I am, so. This is the weirdest review I think I've ever done.
Invincible 71, the Viltrumite War is beginning. Again, if you haven't been reading Invincible for a while, no problem. This issue tells you who is in Invincible's life, who is he dating now, what's going on with his dad. But the war that we've been building up to since one of the earliest story arcs of this series is finally coming. His father's people are ready for action, and we all know they're pretty frickin' powerful. You also have some nice scenes between him and Eve. And his relationship with his father is changing. It might surprise you. Definitely pick it up.
I'm Jose Ramos. I'm standing here with the prolific Gilbert Hernandez. If you don't know who he is, Love and Rockets, Luba, and the newly released High Soft Lisp. Gilbert, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
What do you do?
What do I do? Well, in a nutshell, I like to do stories mostly about very attractive women with very large personal problems. Basically, Love and Rockets is an annual. It's 100 pages of comics once a year, mostly about neurotic characters that have perfectly superficial lives, but have to ruin them because they're nutcases or or whatever however you want to look at it. Most of my characters that I'm known for are the Palomar characters from the Luba collections, and Palomar's a small Latin American village. I just created just for the heck of it, just to have different characters, bumping off each other. And it turned out that a lot of the characters were based on, aspects of myself, people I've met, people I grew up with, people I observed. The main character turned out to be Luba. She's a force of nature. She's very defensive, so she's very angry and very intense, which I think made the character popular for me. Worked out for me that way. And so later on down the line, I created. Luba discovered she had two half-sisters living in the U.S., and when they met, the three sisters were a lot alike. Fritz being the youngest and having something to prove.
You've done a ton of stuff. Love and Rockets, which is the first thing that got you really popular. Luba, Palomar. You've got a ton of stuff out. Right now the newest book out is High Soft Lisp. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, High Soft Lisp is a compilation of stories from Love and Rockets and solo books that I was putting out at the time. I have those planned pretty far in advance. I know that these comics were going to be collected someday, and the stories separated into different books. So the High Soft Lisp worked out as its own book, even though the stories came out in different places. I still had that, intention to put them together that way.
So what I found really entertaining was the description of Fritz on the back of High Soft Lisp. You give her IQ, her measurements, her weight. What was kind of with that?
That's actually a quoting from her one of her ex-husbands, who looked at her in a superficial way. She was actually, at the time when he married her, was a psychotherapist. A great-looking gal, a psychotherapist, but she had this weird, neurotic, really bizarre character about her that he was obsessed with, weeding it out. He was trying to turn her into the perfect trophy wife, because he's a motivational speaker and he's a very public person, so he wanted her, but she didn't fit in that mold, but he kept trying to squeeze that into her. That's where the quote comes from in the back of the book. Yeah. Because she's actually a character of mine that I don't know that well. I usually know my characters pretty well, but she was one that eluded me, as a matter of fact. She was a mystery to me even as I drew her and wrote her stories. And I realized that that's how the strength of the character was. She was difficult to read, even for me. That's what I turned the character into. Somebody difficult to read, yet did all this really weird, all this different stuff in her stories.
Go check out Love and Rockets, High Soft Lisp, Luba, Palomar. This is stuff that's been out anywhere from the late 80s to now. You can find them through Fantagraphics books. Thanks so much again.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
See you later.
Well, that's it for this week on Midtown Comics TV. Remember to check out the weekly podcast with Thor and Demetrius. And also check us out on Crazy Sexy Geek series, the YouTube channel. This past couple of weeks we've had a two-parter with Tim Gunn and me discussing superhero fashion. It is way cool, way fun. It's good stuff. We'll see you next week. We also have a new status quo for Tony.
Wow, that was amazing. This time he finds himself in rural. I hate that word.
I know.
Okay.